In 2014, a Gixxer 750 crashed straight into the side of a red Pontiac Firebird, turning left at an intersection. Sadly, the rider of the motorcycle died at the scene, but EMTs managed to save Annabelle Ray Beam. They put her in the ambulance to get her safely to the hospital, but the ambulance got into an accident, and it was another motorcycle rider who hit them. Unfortunately, the second rider did not survive the crash, and Anne had now sustained life-threatening injuries from not one, but two separate motorcycle-involved crashes, and she was inside of a vehicle both times. With no time to waste, a second ambulance was called to rush Anne to the hospital to try and save her life, and one of the paramedics was even injured in the second crash as well. But what was the cause of all this pain and death? The first motorcycle rider, who wasn't wearing any protective gear, had been racing down the road at over 100 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. He entered the intersection at over 3 times the posted speed limit, where the red Pontiac Anne was driving was making a left turn across his path. Normally, there would have been no issue, but because of how fast the rider was speeding, Anne didn't even see him coming, and the rider had no time to react when the vehicle crossed his path. In the case of the second rider, who was only wearing a pair of gloves but no other protective gear, speed wasn't the main issue. Though he was traveling over the posted speed limit, he wasn't paying attention to the road and the ambulance waiting to turn at the intersection ahead. According to witness statements, they saw the rider appearing to interact with his cell phone, which was mounted on his motorcycle handlebars. As the light changed from yellow to red, the rider failed to respond and blew through the intersection, T-boning the turning ambulance that was transporting Anne. This was the second crash she was involved in over a span of just 20 minutes. In both cases, the motorcycle riders were at fault and were ultimately responsible for their own deaths. But not only had they gotten themselves killed, they had injured other people as well. And all of this could have been easily avoided if the riders had simply obeyed the posted speed limit, paid attention to the road ahead, and anticipated that the other vehicles at the intersection might cross their path. But what happened to Anne? Well, she would have made it, but then a third motorcycle rider, only joking, there was no third rider, Anne finally made it to the hospital and ended up surviving thanks to emergency surgery and organ donor transplants. The real question is, were the donors the two motorcycle riders who had almost killed her?